On this episode of the Apple Watcher, senators bend the rules by wearing Apple Watches at impeachment trial. Apple partners with gyms to reward Apple Watch wearers. Apple could have encrypted iCloud but didn't. And Apple working on preventative healthcare technology. All this, our picks, and much more. This is episode number 18. Welcome to the Apple Watcher, the podcast covering all things Apple Watch and many things Apple. This episode and every episode is brought to you by me, Kevin Hare, and my co-host Jonathan Zarco, aka JZ. All right, let's get started. Well, hello. How you doing this evening?
I'm good.
Good. Well, I have some AirPods Pros just like you do.
You do. That's
I sure do. So let me touch on that. Yeah.
Crossed over. Did you sniff
That's
them?
right. Yeah, they did smell like blueberries. Yeah, these were a gift from my fiance. So very excited. Been using them a lot. And I just want to do a quick review because you already did a review, but you did not have the AirPods Generation 1.
Nope.
So I wanted to do a little comparison. So really loving the noise cancellation, aka coworker mode, as I call it, because it sort of drowns out my coworkers. It works pretty well too. I had a coworker on each side of me, was listening to music, and I pretty much couldn't hear what they were saying, which is
that's awesome.
really great. Yeah. The controls, it takes getting used to because the AirPods, the standard AirPods, you just tap on them to pause, play. You can set different parameters of what controls you would like, but it takes a little getting used to squeezing. And I can't always do that because, long story, we're wearing these little glove type things at work and blah, blah, blah. So it takes a little getting used to, but the trade-off for the sound and everything is fantastic. The sound quality, I feel like, is a big step up, at least from the Generation 1. I did not get the Generation 2. So they sound fantastic. I've been listening to more music. Sorry, podcasters. Oh, wait. Yeah. Been listening to a lot of music. And I've heard things in recordings that I've listened to for years and years that I've never heard before. So I've just been, going to all these records that I've grown up listening to and listened to over the years, and just hearing all these nuances that I didn't hear before. So I feel like they must have improved the sound. I know they're still not the best, quality out there, but they sound a lot better than the AirPods 1. Of course, the fit is much better with having the different size ear tips. They still sometimes get a little loose, but I may have just weird ears that don't fit a large and don't fit a medium exactly. It's somewhere in between, kind of like that with everything I own.
Pretty common.
I've seen articles pop up where people even modify the tips and add something to them to make them even fit better. But
interesting.
It is, way better than the AirPod, the standard AirPods.
Well, it's an opportunity too for like third party people to come in as well and make a thing like that. One thing I have noticed though is even though every once in a while it'll feel like they're a little loose, even if I shake my head back and forth, they still won't fall out. So it's more just that seal isn't quite as tight as you might want it to be, but they're still actually very secure in there. Because what was happening with me is I would put my helmet on when I'm riding home, and the strap would start to knock it a little bit, which would then ever so slightly take it out of alignment. And so I can kind of push it back in, but it kind of kept happening. And so I was wondering, like, is this going to fall out? And just did a whole like headbang, and they stayed in. So
the battery life is, of course, excellent. I do want to point out though that when I purchased my AirPods 1, the Generation 1, the battery life was really, really great then as well. Now these batteries, both the headphones themselves and the case, take a little bit longer to charge, actually a lot longer. And I hope this isn't an issue in the future because the battery ends up losing its ability to charge the same, and the charge depletes faster. Like my AirPods Gen 1 are on their way out, seems like.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can manipulate this in software or firmware update in the future, because it could be an issue if they take a long time to charge, but then when you use them, they deplete really fast. Like, let's say 2-3 years down the line.
Yeah.
It could be an issue, but I'm hoping for the best, because the battery life is incredible. So,
I'm satisfied with them. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Although I also wondered, if the batteries might be an issue. So that's why I got the Apple Care. And so at like a 2-year mark, right before that 2-year mark, I'm going to go in and be like, hey, they don't, maybe they're not charging as much as they used to.
Oh yeah, you know what? I got to add Apple Care to mine. I still haven't done that yet, and it's a little bit more complicated. I've actually never been gifted a device, um, where it's not under my name. So I have
It's
to.
not that hard. I bought mine after I bought the Apple Care after I bought the AirPods, and so
Mhm.
you can do it afterwards, and it's not too difficult. You just have to, actually, if you look inside of the case, I'm trying to remember exactly where it is. Yeah, if you flip open the case and
Mhm.
you look in the top of the lid on the left side, there
Mhm.
is a serial number and a model
Oh,
number,
okay.
and you just have to put
Yeah.
those in. Now you need a microscope
Yeah.
because it's like a 4-point font,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
or get Celeste or somebody with really good eyes to like read them for
Yeah.
you.
The only thing is, when me and my fiance were actually at an Apple store the other day, and I was going to add the Apple Care, and they told me they would need to see them to make sure they're not damaged. And I was like, really?
Hmm.
Because it's under her name, because she bought them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So when you got your Apple Care, was under your name because
Yeah, yeah.
you bought them. So, last thing about the AirPods, just a summary. If you have, let's say, AirPods Gen 1, like I had, these are definitely a big upgrade. And I would imagine that the battery life on your Gen 1 are starting to die as well.
Hmm.
So I would say it's worth the price and the upgrade. They're fantastic. I love them. Love them, love them.
Like I said, they should have named them Magic Pods because
That's right.
they're pretty magical.
Yeah, they're incredible. Well, why don't we start with some Apple Watch stories? And for any listeners, we're sort of changing the format slightly. So we're going to go through just some kind of real fast updates and little news blurbs and opinion pieces here. So first thing, uh, should Apple release an Apple Watch Pro in 2020? This really caught my eye. I'd never thought about that.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
So we've talked about it before that the Pro moniker
Yeah.
kind of means content creators. And I'm trying to understand why you would
But
need a Pro, like what
but
you
but
would use
it's
it for.
it's not always content though. What about the AirPods Pro? You know, it
That's
is.
that's true. I mean, I guess from that standpoint, then it is more for the professional.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're not necessarily content producing with your AirPods, but you're using your
Yeah.
AirPod while content producing and using the noise
Hmm.
cancellation and stuff like that. So I could still see it. So I guess maybe if you're using it to monitor stats, actually, what I would assume is for them to actually not necessarily call it Pro, but maybe call it something else. I don't know, maybe Pro, but use this version of the Apple Watch, an Apple Watch Pro, so to speak, as a possible replacement for a phone if there is an AR headset or something. Because we've talked about that before as well, that if there was some kind of a AR glasses that Apple's rumored to be announcing, they are looking at, what does it mean if you're wearing a screen on your face? Do you still need a phone? And there's just not enough room in your in the actual glasses themselves, I think, to put in the hardware and stuff
Yeah.
that it would need to do the processing. But if they could get all of that inside of a watch, and then your screen is really just your glasses, I could see them doing that, where they say, if you want to be using the glasses and not have a phone, you need to have the Pro Watch. If you don't mind having a watch and a phone and glasses, you can just have it paired to your phone. And then your normal watch is, a timepiece and a notification thing. But then at the same time, too, if you have glasses, I don't know if you need the watch. So,
Yeah.
right.
See, my thought on it was maybe they could have a lower priced Apple Watch, and call that the Apple Watch, just like they've done with the iPhone and the iPhone Pro, where it gets people in the door, the Apple Watch door, just to have like some tracking features and some others, but maybe not as full featured as the Pro. And I would actually love to see them. It's just always, I've mentioned on other episodes, but bring that stainless steel model down in price.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are buying the Apple Watch Series 3 right now, because that's the one that they still sell, but it's at a more affordable price. And it tells you something. That's why they did the iPhone and the iPhone Pro. So it'd be cool to see something like that, where a lot more people could get in the door, maybe, $250, something like that.
Yeah, that would be a really good entry level price.
Yeah.
And I think once people buy them, they really are believers. Although your fiance, she didn't want hers. She turned it back in, right?
Yeah. But yeah, and that was for several reasons, and one of them being the battery life, which when we get closer to the release of the next Apple Watch, we'll talk about it more, but that would definitely be a feature that I would like to see, is better battery life. I'm on some Apple Watch Series 5 groups in Facebook, and that's constantly a complaint. And then people doing all these tricks. Well, I turned raise to wake off and this and that. But they touted
You
in
shouldn't have
there.
to do
Yeah, you
have to
shouldn't
do
have to do
tricks.
that.
Yeah.
And if they're ever going to implement sleep tracking, you need longer battery life. But we'll talk about it. I feel like my battery life is a little bit better since the update, or we could just mention it now.
Yeah.
There was an update on January 28th to Watch OS 6.1.2, which I didn't see a lot of big changes. I just really hope that it does fix battery issues, but we're only a few days in or so.
It was improving your battery life, right?
I don't think it mentioned it at all, but on my watch it seems to have improved it so far. But I have had my watch, where the battery level goes up and down. Like for 2 days, it was amazing. I think I was sending you screenshots, and then after those 2 days, it just plummeted to where it wouldn't even make it through 24 hours. I mean, not even 12 hours. So, yeah, we'll see. But I didn't see a lot of details on what it actually fixes. But I would recommend people doing it. And definitely if you have a Series 5 and possible battery issues like myself.
Yeah, give it a try. See if it seems to even things out for you.
Yeah. Few other things. Apple launching new internal activity challenge for employees. This comes to us from Mac Rumors. Starting in February, Apple is hosting an annual company-wide fitness challenge for all of its employees, tasking them with closing all 3 Apple Watch activity rings every day of the month. Could you do that?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
A lot. Unless you reduce down your your ring goals.
Yeah, and start cheating to hold your arms up. So employees who successfully finish the challenge will be rewarded with a T-shirt that says 2020 in a logo with Apple Watch activity style rings, as shared by Apple employees. The employees who complete the challenge every day will earn a gold ranking and will receive a gold pin along with their T-shirt. And there are also silver and bronze rewards accompanied by silver and bronze pins. So they did this Yeah, they did this in 2018 and 2019, or they had similar challenges. So
I
kind of
know
neat,
that
but
we
it's
had
not.
talked about it on the last episode,
Mhm.
or actually it might have been the one before that, but how there was a challenge to do, what was it, 7 days in a row
Yeah,
where
it's
you
still
got all
going.
your rings?
Oh
Yeah,
shoot.
I did
You
not
couldn't.
get it.
No, the month is almost over.
It's over. But
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Normally it's not a problem. I
Wow.
mean, at one point I had a 45-day streak going where I closed
Wow.
every ring and had it all good. Um, but I got sick, in January, and then there's just been work's been crazy, so I haven't been working out and stuff as much. And yeah, I could not get it. I did get the January challenge, which was to close your activity ring 19 times, but I
Yeah.
couldn't get the 7-day in a row. I'm kind of
Wow.
bummed.
Crazy. Well,
Hmm.
I guess there's no chance now. But
I'll have to wait for
you
February.
could.
Let's see what else comes up. We'll do it
But
next year,
you know,
2021.
yeah. But you can still do it just because you just
I
won't get
can.
a
I can.
award.
It's true.
So yeah. Another little story. Harry Potter Wizards Unite can now use Apple Health and Google Fit data to unlock rewards. That's kind of cool
Mm-hmm.
because when you're playing that game, you do get a lot of steps in.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like
it
Pokemon
should
Go.
count.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Well, why don't we move on to some Apple Watch stories that are a little longer and involved here?
Yeah. All right, so I'll start us off. As most of you probably know, currently the president is under an impeachment trial, and some senators are bending the rules by wearing Apple Watches to the trial. The rules of decorum state that senators can't use phones or electronic devices in the chamber during President Donald Trump's impeachment trial. But what about Apple Watches? At least 7 senators had them strapped to their wrists in the chamber at the start of the trial on Tuesday, despite guidelines from Senate leadership that all electronics should be left in the cloakroom in provided storage. And you've heard other stories too about like senators running into a closet to take a phone call and things like that. But um, yeah, actually, Republican Senators Mike Lee of Utah, John Thune of South Dakota, Jerry Moran of Kansas, James Lankford of Oklahoma, John Cornyn of Texas, and Tim Scott of South Carolina, all wearing them on the floor. Also spotted with the smartwatch, an aide to the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Um, Additionally, there's also Democratic Senators Patty Murray of Washington, Virginia, the Democratic Senator Mark Warner, who owns a watch but could not be confirmed if he had it on the floor. And newer versions of the Apple Watch do have cellular capabilities, which means wearers can leave their phones behind and call from the trail or text from and surf or stream music, or possibly call or text from the Senate floor. So the Supreme Court, the standard bearer for banning electronics from the courtroom, does not allow Apple Watches inside the courtroom. And among other features of the latest Apple Watch, it motivates you to move and exercise and stand around, all things senators are not supposed to do during the trial. So it's a little funny that they had him on there. I suppose that we have like less than 10 senators that are breaking the rule. I guess the percentage isn't that bad. And also, just given the age of the average senator, they probably don't know how to make phone calls on their watch. So I really don't think there's a lot of ill intent.
Wait, are you accusing the government of not being good with tech?
I
Wow.
mean, I know
That's
it's a radical
crazy.
idea, guys, but
That's
so it is just kind
crazy.
of funny. If you happen to be from a state that has a Democrat senator uh, who is breaking the rule, maybe write a letter or something and let them know. But otherwise, just something to keep an eye out for in case any audio leaks happen. We might know where they are originating from.
That's right. I'm going to have to go back and edit that comment about the government out so they don't come after us.
They're coming for us, man. Yeah.
They're going to come
We
for
know how
us
to listen
now.
to podcasts.
Yeah, hopefully this podcast episode will stay up and not be taken down. Anyways, moving on to yet another story of the Apple Watch detecting some heart-related issues. Now, you and I talked about this a little bit about kind of reformatting these stories. I'm telling our listeners this because there's so many stories within 2 weeks that we might pick the best one and then put the rest in show notes and mention them. But a lot of them can be very similar, and we really appreciate that the watch is been helping people and saving people's life, but it might be a little redundant just to go over every single story.
It's fun to, celebrate the fact that the watch has saved another life or 2 or 3 or 5, but not all the details need to be given. More just call out that they happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can write to us on Twitter if you feel different, want us to change it around. But
yeah, let us know. Is that why you listen? You got to know how many people have been saved.
Yeah. And the thing is it's just going to be more and more as more people are wearing the Apple Watch. So we do we record these episodes every 2 weeks. So at some point there's going to be like 20 articles, within 2 weeks. Anyways, let me tell you about this story. So the Apple Watch identifies Utah man's racing heartbeat that signals underlying problem. So this is a 43-year-old Utah truck driver by the name of Peter, and there's no last name given in the article. He had set out to lose weight through the keto diet, but towards the end of dropping 80 pounds, his heart repeatedly started racing. It wasn't until he bought the Apple Watch Series 4, however, that he learned from his watch on his wrist that he had a fast heart rate and was actually a heart disorder called atrial fibrillation. So, yeah, and we know if it goes undetected over time, it can cause heart failure. So, moving on, in spring 2019, Peter went to both urgent care and emergency room in search of help and was given medication that did little to dent the symptoms that put him back in a normal heart rhythm. A cardiologist in Farmington told him that there was no silver bullet medication to fix what's commonly known as AFib. The best solution, other than surgical technique called ablation, was to pursue a life modification program involving weight loss, better sleep, exercise, and eliminating stress.
It's funny how many things that's supposed to cure.
Yeah, some of those are not, trust me, a lot of those are not very easy to achieve. Sleep. Yeah, I won't even get into that. But so his arrhythmia proved stubbornly resistant to medication and lifestyle shifts. By October, his symptoms were impacting his ability to pursue truck driving. He was feeling lightheaded, getting tunnel vision. His hearing was suddenly dropping away, symptoms he later attributed to my uneven heartbeat messing up my blood flow. That was his actual comment.
His quote.
Yeah.
My heart's not pushing the blood.
Yeah. So he says the symptoms were so close to the heart attack, they frightened him, only exacerbating the situation. No. At a doctor's suggestion, he wore a heart rate monitor and revealed he had gone through 15 atrial fibrillation events in 1 month, 3 of them prolonged and more critical. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
The doctor brought a bunch of consultants to Peter's case. So, yeah, this article goes on, but long story short, this seemed to help him very much. The watch was able to detect AFib. Yeah,
and it says here that he went and got he did end up going and getting the surgery, and since then, his heart's been in a normal rhythm. So that's good.
Yeah. Just yet another story about Apple Watch helping someone. Yeah, and if you want to know, I mean, we've spoke about other articles about, atrial fibrillation, but 1 in 3 adults will develop atrial fibrillation if they live past 80. Symptoms can include fatigue, palpitations, exercise intolerance, shortness of breath, and chest pain. Wow, I have all of those. Anyways.
Sounds like a heart attack. Yeah.
The challenges atrial fibrillation poses are twofold. Not only are a third of those who have it unaware of any symptoms that indicate abnormal heart rhythm, but it also arbitrarily comes and goes, making it harder to detect, particularly early in the disease.
Wow.
So if you have an Apple Watch and you're, getting these notifications on your watch, definitely have it looked at. You've heard all of our stories before, and you'll hear more. Have it looked at. So,
and there was another person too, right? That
mention
them real quick.
Yeah, so we'll mention these other ones. The Apple Watch is credited by detecting an owner's heart abnormality. That was actually AFib as well. We'll throw that in the show notes. There was
2 people.
Yeah, well, more. There was a Lebanon woman that caught a heart abnormality as well. Let me skim through that. That is AFib as well. She's a woman from Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah. And then the last one is a Malaysian restaurateur. Let's see, he's 30 years old. Did he have AFib? I'm trying to skim through it. It's the last one here.
I'm going to put my money on yes.
Yeah, well, nonetheless, I'm going to put a link in the show notes, but he had some kind of heart condition here. So, yeah, crazy. Watch is very handy.
Well, as the other article was saying, one of the ways to kind of help mitigate and reduce the potentiality of having an atrial fibrillation is to maintain your weight. And Apple is partnering with gyms to reward Apple Watch wearers.
This is cool.
This is coming from Colta Mac. They revealed a new Apple Watch connected gym partnership that's supposed to incentivize Apple Watch wearers to hit the gym. Initial launch partners include Basecamp Fitness, Orange Theory, YMCA, and Crunch Fitness, with more gyms expected to be added throughout 2020. The Connected Watch program, or Connected Apple Watch Connected Gym program, launched at select gyms on Thursday, January 23rd. Participating gyms have to support 4 different tiers of Apple Watch benefits to be included in the program. Tier 1 gyms have Apple Watch apps that let people track their fitness, see classes, and log in at the gym. Tier 2 gyms have an offer to option to earn with Apple Watch. Tier 3 gyms have to accept Apple Pay, and Tier 4 gyms have Gym Kit on cardio machines, unless it's a studio like Orange Theory. So all the rewards you can get from Apple's connected gym program, things include, it really depends. They're likely to be the most interesting part of the program. It changes based on the gym that you're at. So Basecamp workouts can go towards earning a free Apple Watch Series 5 GPS, which is really cool. You probably have to go a lot, but that's a good incentive. Crunch Fitness, between $3 and $4 a weekly credit that could be applied to next month's bill.
That's cool.
Orange Theory is giving Apple and Nike gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
And the YMCA is doing more of a pay it forward program where your workouts unlock free classes for kids who use the facilities. So that's a nice, kind of way to give back as well. So Apple says more locations will be added in the future, and it's unclear just how sweet these rewards might get for new gym chains that join. But it's probably not worth picking up an Apple Watch just to cash in those deals. But if you have one, the rewards program is a nice perk that could make going to the gym a little bit more enticing.
Yeah, that's
unless you
cool.
have an Android.
That's cool. Very cool. Well, one more story in our Apple Watch section. This one is not an AFib story, so we'll just cover it real quick. And that's driver's Apple Watch calls 911 after they were involved in an accident. So a little different here.
Yeah, that's the fall detection or impact detection in this case.
Yeah, they might as well bill it as impact detection. So according to a Reddit thread, the watch called 911 and was in the process of dialing when the wearer came to. This was after, okay, let me skip back. This was after he crashed. So, according to a Redditor named underscore Mr. O or Zero, they were driving when they were involved in an accident, and the Apple Watch did the rest. So, again, according to the Reddit thread, the watch called 911 and was in the process of dialing when the wearer came through. I guess this is probably a typo. Thankfully, they didn't suffer any serious injuries. And the quote from this guy, luckily I wasn't hurt, and it was comforting to know that this feature really works. Which is funny because stating that it really works, this is not what it was intended for, because it's actually the fall detection. But that's pretty cool, because we've covered a story that was pretty much identical to this. We've covered a few, I think.
I mean, if you think about it, getting hit or getting in a car accident is just kind of like falling sideways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, why don't we move on to some Apple stories, and we're going to start with some quick stories as well. So just wanted to let people know time is running out. At the time we post this, your time may have already run out, and that's for signing up for your free year of Apple TV Plus. Because if you bought an iPhone 11 or 11 Pro on the day it came out, then 90 days is January 31st. So if you have one of those and you didn't sign up, you already missed it. But if you bought a device,
you have to go buy something.
Yeah, if you bought a device after that, you still have time. So long story short, you have 90 days, it looks like, from when you buy a device to sign up for that year. I don't know why you would really wait. Might as well just, cash it in and start using it. It's a whole year.
Yeah. So, and if you think about it too, people just might have forgot,
that is
but you don't want to miss out,
Yeah.
There's some cool programs on there. Nothing there that I think you gotta like rush out to and watch right now. But
we're watching a few, but they're not amazing. Apple TV Plus has potential. What we will do is include in the show notes a tutorial how to redeem your free Apple TV Plus offer, because it is a little strange, or unless they've fixed it, but it was a little weird,
little
wonky, little kind of hoops to jump through. So yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes for that. Another little story is Apple Card Apple Card new feature lets users export transactions to third-party apps. This is a feature that people have wanted for quite a while. You may need some of this for your taxes and all kinds of other things. So
I could imagine too, if you have a business or something and you're trying to use like a QuickBooks or something, you want to import expenses. I'm not sure if you can connect I'd be surprised if you couldn't, but I'm not sure if you can connect your Apple Card to like a mint.com kind of account where it tracks it. And if not, then you probably can import there.
Yeah, I don't know. But it says Apple will now allow Apple Card owners to export transaction data from the Wallet app to third-party apps, making it easier to manage expenses alongside transactions from other accounts. Cardholders will be able to export their expenses into any app that supports the ability to import data as a spreadsheet. So there you go. It's one of several updates to the Apple Card that Apple has released since the card's August launch, following the introduction of the new iPhone upgrade program to cardholders. So it says to export Apple Card expenses, launch the Wallet app, choose your Apple Card, tap on your card balance, then scroll down to where the monthly statements are listed. Choose a monthly statement and press Export Transactions button. Previously, Apple only offered the ability to download a PDF version of your statement. And just a little note is it only works with the Apple Card, not other cards stored in Apple Pay. Only the Apple Card, at least currently. So, yeah, well, I would imagine your other credit cards, you can get the statement from them.
Yeah. But so that means that the Apple Wallet isn't tracking the transactions. The card is, and the wallet application is just allowing you to pull that data.
Exactly. Another little update. Apple stores will celebrate Black History Month with over 40 inspirational sessions. This is pretty cool. So starting February 1st, select Apple stores across the U.S. will celebrate Black History Month with special lineup of more than 40 Today at Apple sessions. This year's lineup highlights creators shaping new cultural narratives through visual arts, photography, poetry, dance, film, and other mediums. All sessions are free to attend. You can also sign up by using the Apple Store app for iOS. Sessions now include an Apple Wallet Pass for easy check-in when you arrive at the store. Now, these are only select stores, as I mentioned, and it's Apple Williamsburg in Brooklyn, Apple Fifth Avenue in New York City, Apple Carnegie Library in Washington, D.C., Apple Aventura in Miami, Apple Michigan Avenue in Chicago, Apple Union Square in San Francisco, and Apple 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica. So only
mostly
those
East
stores.
Coast, but a couple out here too.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. Tim Cook says Apple will donate to efforts fighting the coronavirus. Apple CEO Tim Cook, has tweeted that we send our love and support to many impacted by the coronavirus, and that Apple will be donating to groups on the ground helping support of all those affected. So that's pretty cool. And we got some big earnings as well.
All right.
They announced this on Tuesday the 28th. So this is all Apple's Q1 2020 earnings, 91.8 billion. Wow. Jeez. So the first fiscal, sorry, did I say physical? Fiscal.
Let's get fiscal.
Yeah, let's get fiscal. So for the first fiscal quarter of 2020, Apple had forecast revenue between 85.5 billion and 89.5 billion. That compares to 84.3 billion it reported in the same quarter 1 year ago. So how did Apple perform during the Q1 2020? The company has announced revenue of 91.8 billion in profit and 22.2 billion. That's an all-time record for both net income and revenue. Man. Apple says.
So they shattered their estimations by a little over $6 billion, and of their 91.8 billion in revenue, 22.2 is just pure profit. Man, that's good though, right?
Yeah.
That means that they're creating a product that people are liking. They're figuring out efficiencies in production to reduce cost, and yeah, that's impressive. Very good.
Yeah, and for those not aware, they no longer report unit sales as of its hardware products, a change that it introduced a year ago. The company does, however, provide a breakdown of revenue product by category. So, and what they mean is they're not going to mention each model of iPhone and each model of iPad. They just kind of throw them all the iPhones together, all the iPads. So, yeah, here are the reports of their Q1 per category. So 55.96 billion for iPhone, 12.72 billion for services, 7.16 billion for Mac, 10.01 billion for wearables, home and accessories, and 5.9 billion for iPad, coming in last. So another little short story is we had a lot of little updates for iOS, iPadOS, and watchOS, and macOS Catalina. This came out
got a little bump.
Tuesday, right? The 28th. So we'll just do a quick little rundown of what was updated and why. So macOS Catalina 10.15.3 optimizes gamma handling of low gray levels on Pro Display XDR. Okay. Improves multi-stream video editing performance for HEVC and H.264 encoded 4K video. Okay.
Nice.
These are all things that I'm not familiar with. So iOS 13.3.1, this includes bug fixes and improvements. Fixes an issue in communication limits that would allow contact to be added without entering the screen time passcode. Add setting the control to use location services by the U1 ultra wideband chip. Maybe we don't need to go through all these. Yeah.
The one thing I want to call out is the in the iOS 13.1 or 0.3.1 bug fixes and stuff. Finally, there is support for Indian English Siri voices for HomePod.
Okay.
We are quite granular.
Yeah, we'll just grab a couple of these important little fixes in here. So continuing with iOS 13.3.1, it addresses an issue with FaceTime, could be used the rear facing ultra wide camera instead of the wide camera. Resolves an issue with push notifications could fail to be delivered over Wi-Fi. That's kind of big. And I know from other articles that people are having issues with CarPlay, and this seems to fix these issues that were causing distortion sound when making phone calls in certain vehicles. So, okay, and then iPadOS 13.3.1 includes bug fixes and improvements, of course. Let's see. Okay, addresses an issue with Mail that could cause remote images to load even when the load remote images setting is disabled. Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like a weird bug.
Yeah. Also resolves that issue with Wi-Fi where the notifications could fail to be delivered. Let's see. And then watchOS 6.1.2, we kind of already mentioned this. It doesn't seem to be a big update, just security updates, but I personally think that there may be a battery fix in there for us that have the Series 5 watch, because a lot of us have been plagued with battery issues, and I believe that they would not mention battery issues in this update. They probably wouldn't own up to it, but so far, a couple days in, again, my battery life seems better. I'm going to monitor it for all week, and if it doesn't improve itself, I'm definitely going to exchange mine. They already have a ticket going. So yeah, and it was a lot of money. So the battery life needs to be good.
As they said that it would.
Yeah.
And I've been having a weird issue where my phone doesn't want to tell me if my watch is updated or not. So I actually don't know if I'm there. I think I need to restart everything. But my battery has been good, and I'm on the 4, and so it's
the
over
Series
a year
4.
Now.
Yeah. See, my battery life on my Series 5 should be as good as your Series 4, but it hasn't been. So, couple more quick stories here. Apple's redesigned maps are now available for everyone in the U.S. Before, they were just a few cities, and they've kind of spread it out, and now it's for the entire United States. We'll have a link in the show notes for that. Kind of more detailed views, stuff like that.
They're nice. I particularly like the new turn-by-turn directions because it calls out the stop signs and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, this article shows some screenshots where it compares what maps used to look like and what it looks like now. It's pretty nice, and it looks like it'll roll out to Europe starting later this year. So that's pretty cool for people that use Apple Maps. Let's see. SIM-free iPhones now qualify for 24-month interest-free financing with the Apple Card. This is pretty cool. This was not a feature before. You were able to pick a carrier and then do the 24-month interest-free financing. Now you can pick a SIM-free phone, it looks like.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool. So soon we'll have 1,000 ways to buy an iPhone.
They'll all just be the wild phone.
Yeah, pretty soon you'll be able to trade in your old clothes, whatever.
I mean, I honestly wonder why Apple doesn't just tell carriers, like, we're no longer locking phones. Or sell it. Okay, fine, you can lock it, but then also providing a service that will automatically unlock them through Apple.
They must get some kind of money,
something
for that
I don't know.
deal. But speaking of interest-free financing with Apple Card, I would love to see this with other devices like the Apple Watch. We'll probably get into that another time. Yeah, and I'd love to see an upgrade program for other devices. It'd be great for everything they make. Just make an upgrade program, make some 24-month interest-free financing, and I might buy everything. So I mentioned at the top of this episode that we might cover a few opinion pieces too. So this caught my eye. This article is titled, "Come on, Apple, stop making me choose between avoiding coronavirus and easily unlocking my iPhone in China."
Jeez.
Yeah, we're not going to read this whole story, but it's a bit ridiculous. This guy is complaining because you have to wear a mask in a lot of areas of China right now due to the coronavirus. And with that mask, he's not able to unlock his phone with Face ID.
He wants an eye ID.
So, yeah, an iris scanner.
Yeah.
So hopefully Apple will have one of those to help this guy out.
I think someone's just trying to make a joke, but
I hope that this is a joke. I hope that I fell for it and this was just a joke. But it's not a good joke if it is a joke, because last I heard, there was 130 people that have died from the coronavirus. So
that's sad.
If he's not joking, you could either choose death, or you can use your passcode, or you can get an iPhone with Touch ID or an Android phone.
Or just not lock your phone for a little bit. Like, you're not, unless you're planning on wearing that mask all the time forever. Seems like a thing that's not going to be a huge issue for a long time.
Yeah,
tend to get resolved after about a month or so. And
for this, it's a big deal. At my job, there's times where I have to wear a dust mask and I can't open my phone and use the passcode, and it's a little inconvenient. But it's not the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So
and
this is.
There's other things too, like with Siri. You can use her, especially if you have your new AirPod Pros, to control your phone and get a lot of those things. So.
Yeah. So, anyways, why don't we move on? Yeah, move on to some longer stories here.
To
something
Apple
happy. Yeah.
We get coronavirus to Apple working in preventative healthcare technology.
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be a new Apple eye mask or something like that. This is coming from the Apple Insider. CEO Cook reveals. Cook commented on Apple's contributions to the healthcare space during a panel, suggesting what started with a heart health tracking on Apple Watch could soon branch out into other areas of quote-unquote interest. He's quoted by saying, "I'm seeing that this intersection has not yet been explored very well. There's not a lot of tech associated with the way people's healthcare is done unless they get into various serious trouble. I think you can take the simple idea of having preventative things and find many more areas where technology intersects healthcare, and I think all of our lives would probably be better for it." He also added that the cost of healthcare can fundamentally be taken down, probably in a dramatic way, by integrating common healthcare technologies in consumer devices. Most of the money in healthcare goes to the cases that aren't identified early enough, says Cook. It will take some time, but things that we are doing now, that I'm not going to talk about today, those give me a lot of hope, a lot of cause for hope. So Apple is known to be at work on multiple health-focused initiatives, though none of them have been formally announced. The recent patent filing from December, for example, suggests the company is developing methods of Apple Watch to detect Parkinson's disease and diagnose tremor symptoms, which we actually talked about. Similar initiatives, rather, like the sound monitoring noise app and menstrual cycle tracking app, were announced and subsequently released with Watch OS 6. So we'd kind of chatted about this before, but I really see Apple kind of moving into this healthcare space and trying to make some big changes. Um, I mean, it's not only good from like a business profit standpoint to keep your users healthy and happy because they can continue to use and buy your products, but it also is just good for the overall world, and for people in general. So it's very cool.
Yeah, this is really cool. Love to hear them pushing healthcare even more. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you've dived into the health app much recently, but you can now add like results from your tests from
Oh,
certain
yeah. I should check
like
that out because I just got a bunch of stuff from like Quest Diagnostics or whatever.
you can add that. I've heard, I myself, I don't use Kaiser. Kaiser here in America is kind of a healthcare where everything is under one umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have Kaiser, you can literally add everything,
Oh, cool.
all your information. So it's pretty cool. I yeah, it's very cool. I have my blood test results and stuff like that in my health app. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So
Well,
I
more to
love to see
come.
their push. Yeah, it's really cool.
I predict that in the next 5 years, going back to the earnings call, that services is probably going to end up being their number one very soon, and it may have
Yeah.
something to do with this whole health tracking and other systems. But really cool.
Yeah. So this next article just kind of wanted to make sure people understand and are aware of this, but Apple reportedly ditched plan for encrypted iCloud backup after FBI pressure. So I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure we've mentioned on a previous episode that your iCloud is encrypted, as in a bad guy can't just get in. You can set up
Mm-hmm.
two-factor authentication, but if you are a criminal and they want to, if the good guys come knocking on Apple's door and want access to your iCloud, they can. That's what
Yeah,
this means.
they need a
So
warrant issued, but they can get
yeah,
data,
yeah, but
but
just
only from backups.
yeah, that yeah, that's true. So, but this article states the company wanted to offer end-to-end encryption for iCloud 2 years ago, according to routers. Apple reversed course on a plan to enable people to fully encrypt backups of their iPhone data on its iCloud service after the FBI aired concerns that it would hurt investigations, routers reported. So, about 2 years ago, Apple reportedly told FBI it wanted to make hacking its cloud storage service more difficult by offering people end-to-end encryption. If it did so, routers reported Apple would be unable to hand iCloud data over to authorities. The
Hmm.
other problem that I've heard on other podcasts as well, is that if you did end-to-end encryption and gave that to customers, say they needed a passcode to get in, they're going to be very mad when they lose their passcode
And
and
they
can't
can't get in all their
can't
stuff.
get into
Yeah.
all their iCloud. So that was actually another reason I've heard that they've done this. So, and to be clear about what is stored on iCloud, just so everyone knows, it is your recent iMessages, photos, and other data. They're encrypted when they're sent from the phone to the cloud and while stored in the cloud. For certain sensitive information, Apple uses end-to-end encryption, the company says on a support page. This means that only you can access your information and only on devices that you were signed into iCloud. No one else, not even Apple, can access end-to-end encrypted information. With its current setup, Apple also can access iCloud backups when requested by authorities. In the case of the Florida Naval Base shooting, Apple turned over the shooter's iCloud backups. Had it made the changes it considered 2 years ago, as reported by routers, it wouldn't have the keys to unlock encrypted data and hand it over to the law enforcement, even if it was ordered to do so by the court.
Wow.
So just want to make sure everyone knows that, we've also heard stories of revealing photos being stored in iCloud that have showed up on the web. So just kind of beware.
Although that was
have
because
a strong,
people didn't do the two-factor authentication, and then their passwords were just guessed.
their passwords were very weak. So have a strong
that was
password.
more social engineering than it was actual hacking.
Yes. Yeah. So have a strong password, have two-factor set up, but no matter what, if the law starts knocking on Apple's door, they're going to hand over your iCloud. So just know that. Moving on in our For Your Entertainment section, some lighter news here. So these are some pretty cool videos. I don't know if you saw any of these, but Apple shares a new Slow-fi video highlighting its
new
iPhone
ones?
11.
I only saw the original. That's fun.
These are new ones. These ones I think were shot with these guys like snowboarding. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but it highlights the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro cameras, so that's pretty cool. It's worth checking out. Tim Cook reveals surprise behind the scenes look at Little America. That's pretty cool. That show's actually pretty good. It's very lighthearted. We've been watching that, me and my fiance. They're like kind of short half-hour stories of immigrants that have come to America and their stories. They're kind of funny too. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. So the behind the scenes, if you're into that show. And another shot on iPhone video called Powder highlights iPhone's video capability, and the video follows X Games competitors. Looks like a snowboarder. So I think the Slow-fi video was actually taken from these.
From that.
And then I included a behind the scenes of Apple's Powder snowboarding video. So those are pretty cool though. Once again, you see these videos and it's a little hard to believe that they're shot on an iPhone, but it's very cool. Very cool what the iPhone can do.
Yeah, the quality of the videos
the quality
is getting really, really good.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. And then last in our For Your Entertainment, if you're a fan of the Beastie Boys, there's a teaser for the Spike Jonze Beastie Boys story that's going to be released. And I believe that's released in April, like April 24th, I think.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that coming to Apple TV Plus. So there's a little teaser, and it kind of shows the Beastie Boys. They've been doing like a tour of the two remaining members that are still alive, doing like kind of a book tour. So it shows that, and then the story of the Beastie Boys. So
you said that's coming
pretty
out
cool.
In April?
Yeah, I think April 24th. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Apple does like interesting releases for content pretty close to new product launches. Like I wouldn't be surprised if by, around September, October, there's new movies and shows and series, second seasons and stuff of like C and stuff like that come out around that time too, to help kind of incentivize purchasing new products. There's a whole other, market way they can do that. All that to say, I wonder if we may have some kind of hardware come out in April, because this seems like a big item, to try to draw some traffic.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. And by the way, it says that it will be released on iMac, limited iMacs release on April 3rd, and then coming to streaming service after that, but it doesn't say an exact date. But I'm pretty sure it's the 24th of April, if you're a Beastie Boys fan. Anyways, why don't we move on to our picks, and maybe you want to go first?
Sure. So my pick is it's a game I found. This is a little interesting. I haven't been playing a lot of games, but this one's called Color Fill 3D.
And
Um,
is it for the phone and the watch, or
it's just for the phone.
just for the phone?
And what you do is you have this like grid of boxes, and you swipe up on this grid of boxes, and it makes like a line go, and then you are basically carving off different areas of the space and filling in those blocks. And when you've completed, like, gotten the entire um, area filled in, it advances you to the next one. Now, the game itself is fun. There's also a whole thing where there's like pieces that are moving, and you have to close it off before the moving object hits you. Um, and there's some interesting little like barricades and things like that are in the way. The one thing I will say is the game itself is fun, but the ads on it are terrible. There's a free version,
Oh, really?
but it's just every level requires you to see some kind of an ad first, and it just really starts to kill the experience. So if you are interested in it, do it. Download the free version, play it a couple times to see if you like it, and then just know that it's going to be $3. Once you pay
Okay,
$3, then the ads go away. But otherwise,
yeah.
they're very disruptive. It's really, really frustrating. So I don't know. I guess it did its job, right? It got me interested in the game. So, um, and I sat through a series of ads and thought it was interesting enough to actually buy. Um, but yeah, definitely just know that going in, that there's crazy ads, and it forces you to watch the entire 30-second thing. And
You're
a lot
going
of
to
times they're even
you're going to want to
interactive and
hand
stuff.
over that $3, right?
Yeah. Which
It's
the
worth
other
it.
part of me too, which I was thinking was kind of funny, that I was like balking at $3 when I have no problem, like adding avocado to a burger, and that's typically like $3. So
three
I'm like, well,
dollars.
something,
Yeah.
I don't know why, for me, still paying more than $1 for a game feels excessive, but I don't know. But then at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if the game is also available in arcade, and then you don't have ads. So, but I don't know for a fact if it's there or not. So
I don't think they cross over right now. Like I
no.
don't think they're available in both
Oh, okay.
on purpose.
Then that
So
one would be no.
yeah.
But yeah, if
So
you're
it'd
if you're
be
looking for a little time waster,
and spend that $3.
and you got $3 burn a hole in your pocket, Color Fill 3D.
Yeah, I've had some games where they force you to do that, and it drove me berserk. Can't do it. I would pay the money if I love the game.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. So,
I
well,
kind of
my
wish
pick. Oh,
it would just
go
do it
ahead.
like a little bit later. Like, because
Yeah,
it took a while for me to figure out if I actually liked the game or not. It was compelling enough for me to stick through a couple of them.
yeah.
But like, if they were smart, they would have let me get through the first like 10 and then really start hitting me with the ads. Like, now I'm addicted, but yeah. Sorry. What's your pick?
Yeah, that is good advice though, because they might turn people off to the game,
Mm-hmm.
right away. I know that's what I just mentioned. I had a game where it did the same thing, and it just drove me berserk, and I never could get farther because you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they should have waited, should have hooked you in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, my pick is Double Take by Filmic. Now this just came out a few days ago as we're recording this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the one that was shown at the iPhone 11 unveiling event. I don't know
Oh,
if you
yeah.
remember
Yeah.
this. Yeah. So it's finally here, but it's not the full version that they showed at the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro unveiling. So this is, I guess, a preliminary app before the Pro app comes out. So this one, the double take, it uses your front facing camera and your rear facing camera at the same time. So it's pretty neat. I've only messed around with it a little bit because I don't really have a use case for it for myself, but I just wanted to see it in action. Pretty cool. You can do split screen. You can do like I don't know what the real name of it is, but it looks like a FaceTime call where you're small in the corner and the other
like a
image
picture in
is large.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like it does a few other angles or different, screens. It's really neat just to kind of mess around with. I could definitely see people using this. I'm looking at the website and they're showing, a guy interviewing a girl, and so they're both able to be on the screen. So that's pretty neat. And like I said, this is a preliminary app from what I understand, because I think Double Take, or whatever they're going to call it, Filmic Pro, will be out at a later date. And that's where you can actually use multiple iPhones and have, remember, that's what they showed at that iPhone event. So this one's really neat. It's free, so it's just kind of fun to tool
Does
around
it make you
with.
watch an ad in between each video you take?
No, and that's what makes it great too. Is there's no ads whatsoever. That would be great though if they just threw an ad up and that you had a split screen. They just threw it up at the top, like really. That would be pretty big too.
There's always a little picture-in-picture video in the bottom corner.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Apple Watchers. Read all the stories we've covered and more stories on Flipboard, a link provided in the show notes. Reach out to us on Twitter @WatchersTweet if you have any suggestions or stories you'd like us to cover. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also ask your smart speaker to play the Apple Watchers podcast. Please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen. And thank you again for listening. Until the next episode, I hope the only complications in your life are the ones on the face of your Apple Watch.